Shanti, how are you all? Today we are going to discuss a very important topic about the students who are being punished for their inability to cope up with their studies, to cope up with the fellow students. So it was already taken as an Hindi movie, right? Three Idiots, something like that. But there is still more to it, and that is what we are going to reveal in this video. And the part that was not revealed in any of the scientific discoveries is the spiritual side to that problem. They call the inability to understand, to grasp the knowledge as some kind of disease. But you can call it a disease, but still, can you call a 60-year-old illiterate woman who is unable to learn alphabets to have a disease of not able to understand them? You can't, right? You will blame her old age for her inability. Similarly, the kids who can't cope up with their fellow members, they also suffer the old age problem. But here it means spiritual old age. Since we have no idea about any characteristics of our soul or spirit, we are helpless in such situations, because only one out of hundreds can shine in academics. So for one to get first rank, all other of his friends, they all have to suffer. They will have to face the punishments, they will have to face the hard labor of reading, but still they can't take in the content they read. So why is these things happen? Because even if somebody manages to shine in all his or her studies, there is no guarantee they will shine in their future life. Similarly, if someone fails throughout his academics, it doesn't mean he will fail for the rest of his life. More likely he will be very successful compared to his fellow members who did well in their academics. Some think that everybody is born equal, so if you can teach very nicely to everybody, then everybody can learn it. Well, it seems logical, but it's totally impractical. And even if you manage to take some precautions to make everybody understand this knowledge, but still you will find and you will be very surprised that there will always be some who can't understand, no matter how effort you put to make him understand. Because as I mentioned earlier, it is similar to making an old woman sit in the LKG class and force her to study the alphabets. It's impossible for her, because it is not in her capacity to understand them, to grasp them. Similarly, there will always be very few members who can understand everything. Even among them, only one or two will succeed in grasping 100% of what teachers teach. And the reason for that is that particular boy or girl has this capacity to grasp everything, to grasp all the subjects, is taken from the fact that he came to this earth very recently. That is, he is a newborn baby in terms of soul. So I understand that it is impossible for you to understand at this point, but once you know the direct teachings of God, then you will know what I am speaking about. God says we are imperishable souls that shines between the eyebrows. So that is why Hindus keep bindis right here, and it looks like a tiny star, but it is so tiny that it is invisible to both naked eyes or through any scientific equipment. It is impossible to see it. So because this is the tiniest thing in the world, and God is as tiny as the soul, He is also a soul. That is why He is called the Supreme Soul. Soul is called Atma in Hindi, and the Supreme Soul is called the Paramatma. He is great, that is why He is called Paramatma, not because He looks bigger than souls. So God says we used to reside with God in this place called Parandam or Parlok, or you can call it the Supreme Abode or the Soul World. There are many names to this single place. This will be the golden red colored light world. And we souls, before taking birth, resided here along with the Father of all souls, God Shiva. Yes, God's name is Shiva, and only one is God. And this God Shiva is called Allah by Muslims, and this God Shiva is called the Heavenly Father by Christians, and God is one. And He looks just like us. The only difference is that we take birth, and so we enter this birth and death cycle. God stays out of this cycle. That is, He doesn't take birth like us from a mother's womb. Instead, what He does is He comes to this earth. He has to come to the earth because only He has got this knowledge, and He comes to earth towards the end of Kali Yuga, right before the destruction of the world, to impart souls with this great knowledge that we were once the deities in heaven. This world itself was heaven 5000 years back, and it continued to be heaven for 2500 years, and after that it became hell. And now we are at the verge of the end of the hell, and what will happen after the end of the hell is it will be converted back to heaven. And one more thing is, this 5000 year time cycle is called a kalpa, and whatever happens in one kalpa, it keeps repeating kalpa after kalpa. To understand it very easily, if you are watching this video now, it obviously means that you watched the same video 5000 years back on this very day, and you will be watching the same video 5000 years after this day on this same day. So it repeats that accurate. So it obviously means we were deities 5000 years back, and now we are ordinary humans. So we will be converted back to deities like Sri Krishna or Sri Rama. So what's the difference between deities and humans? Of course, the same soul that is present here was inside Sri Krishna's body 5000 years back. So this is just an example. I'm not saying that I was Krishna, but I could be, or you could be. That's a possibility. So what changes? The body changes, and also the characters changes. So while we were deities, we used to have divine characters. We were free from anger, greed, attachment, ego, and lust. These 5 vices are collectively called Maya or Ravan or Satan, and we have become slaves to that now, but these 5 vices were not present in anybody in heaven, so it was free of vices. That is why it was heaven, and we will all be very happy, and the world will be filled with gold and all other precious ornaments. We were so rich and we were so healthy, we didn't have even headache. And not only humans, even animals, they will be having very nice time with other animals and with humans. They wouldn't kill each other as it does now. Even lions and sheep, they will have water in the same pond at the same time. It means it doesn't kill each other. They will all be eating plants. So needless to mention about humans, if the animals, the wild animals itself were so loving, then humans will be very loving, right? So that's how we were in heaven. But the reason we have become so cruel as we are now is that we have become slaves to those 5 vices when we enter heaven. When we enter hell. The reason is, while we were in heaven, we were conscious of soul. We didn't consider ourselves to be this perishable body. Instead, we would be considering ourselves to be the imperishable soul. So we will feel as if a driver feels inside a car. He can operate the car as he wish, but still he is separate from the car. Similarly, we can operate this body as we wish, but still we considered ourselves to be entirely different from this body while we were in heaven. That is why we didn't fall for lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. So as a result of that, you know what we possessed? We had this enormous power of thoughts, that we can make anything happen just by our thought. For example, if we want it to rain, it will rain. If we want it to stop, it will stop in that very instant. So that's the kind of power our thoughts had in the beginning. The reason we lost that power is because we have become slaves to these 5 vices, and the main reason for that is we forget the fact that we were souls. Instead, we started considering ourselves to be this perishable body after entering hell, because of which we fall slaves for lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. As a result, we face a lot of suffering in terms of physical illness, relationships, and also natural calamities. And the reason for all of that boils down to our having to us having body consciousness. And God reveals this fact, and he says this world will soon be turned into heaven. And yeah, of course, this world will be destroyed. Only then it will be re-established as heaven. And there's no need for us to worry, because we are not this perishable body. So we have to purify ourselves, because it got corrupted. It got corrupted by these 5 vices. So that is basically what we call as sins. So we have been accumulating sins from our past births, because the thoughts that's related to these 5 vices are called sins, and that sins will be carried from birth after birth, and we have to burn away all our sins right now to enter heaven. The only way for doing that is to remember God. We do not know how God looks like. from the religious scriptures. No religious scriptures has ever revealed how God looks like, and it is only now God says that he looks just like us souls, a point of light, but he exists in a place that is golden red colored light world. So now we have to consider God as a point of light, and before that we have to consider ourselves to be this imperishable point of light souls, and God is our Father because he gives the inheritance of heaven through his teachings. He makes us eligible to enter heaven through his teachings, and that teaching is available in all Raja Yoga meditation centers across the globe, and those teachings are called Murli. You can get it free of cost from Raja Yoga meditation centers. To locate the centers in your area, in your country, you can Google it, or you can just leave a WhatsApp message in this number so that we can guide you in locating the address. So the WhatsApp number you need to send message to is +91 98 946 71743. Okay, this is basically the teaching God gives, and considering ourselves to be a soul and connecting ourselves to the Supreme Soul is what is the basic Raja Yoga meditation. It is by doing this we can wash away all our sins, and this is the only way to do that, and only after becoming pure by remembering God constantly we can take birth in heaven. So another important thing is, once we take birth, there is no question of going back to where we came from, that is the soul world, because after the destruction of the world, all souls will be going there, leaving the bodies here itself. So from there, if we have become as pure as God, then we will be entering heaven right in the beginning. If there is any deficiency of purity, then we will be entering heaven at a later point of time. But we haven't made any effort to become pure, then we will stay there till the heaven gets over. Only then we will enter in the hell, and we will just be suffering pain in all kalpa. So coming to the topic, I said that only very few can study very nicely. The reason is they are the souls that took birth recently. They didn't come to heaven, they didn't even come to hell in the beginning while it was somewhat nice, but it just took birth now. That is, it might be is his second birth or third birth. So it is pretty young soul wise, that's why it has the capability. So it is naturally wise, which is why it shines in academics. But while we first took birth, we were so brilliant that we can even control the nature. So compared to us, they are not that brilliant, but still, since we were here playing our parts for the past 5,000 years, we have become old, because of which we have lost all our power. That is why it is impossible for us to grasp everything. But unfortunately, since the academicians, they didn't know of this fact, they torture us literally to make us study, but we just can't because we have lost the power. So basically, teachers should watch this. Even if they watch this, they can't do that because their management wants them to make the students study. So what can they do other than punishing the students? Okay, if you are a student And if you are a parent watching this, and if you are eagerly waiting for me to say any solution, of course there is a solution, or else there's no need to put this video, right? See, our soul has lost all its power because the sins get accumulated in our souls. So if we wash away all the sins, it will get pure again, which means it will become powerful again, so that it's going to be very easy for us to concentrate in, not only in academics, in whatever department you want to focus. It is going to be very easy. And even if you're a middle-aged man, you will get success instantly if you are going to follow the practice what I'm going to say. The basic thing you need to do is to connect your mind to God, but you have to pay attention that you are connected to God all the time. Even while you are reading or listening to the lectures, I understand it is difficult for you to concentrate on both, but what happens is, if you are not concentrating on God, well, there are two important things that you need to concentrate on. First is, you have to concentrate on that, and you should not focus your mind on anything else. But the spiritual aspect to this problem is, what happens is, you are constantly surrounded by thoughts that you are not even aware of. You will be constantly fought with by Maya from your past birth. That's why students often confront the situation where they will not be thinking of any other thoughts. Similarly, they can't even concentrate on what they are studying now. So why is this happening? That's the sin in its subtle form fighting with you. So what you need to do is to develop the strength of your soul, and the only way for doing that is, as I mentioned earlier, you need to connect your mind with God. Even while your professor is teaching, while you are concentrating, you will also bring your attention innerwards on your soul. Try to become soul conscious. Try to consider yourself to be a soul, and also try to see your teacher as a soul that speaks through that body. And also connect your mind to God. And what will happen the moment when you connect to God is, you will start experiencing the positive vibrations that's going to spread across you. So you will be surrounded by positive vibrations, so that will keep any negative vibrations away from you. That way your concentration will not be obstructed by these negative vibrations, so that you can concentrate on what you want to concentrate on. So this is the thing that you need to keep on doing, not only while you are studying, but also while you eat, sleep, walk, talk, whatever you do. Just make sure 90% of your concentration is towards making you soul conscious and to connecting your mind with God. It is just a matter of bringing your attention. That's it. So you need to constantly think of God, and also you need to listen to God's Murli daily. As I mentioned, it is available in all Raj Yoga meditation centers, and so you shouldn't miss the Murli even for a day, because if you don't read Murli even for a day, then the attack of this Maya will be very great. So you should not miss out on your Murli. And one thing is, since we have these sins in our souls, it is going to be very difficult for you to concentrate on God initially. So there will be many obstructions for you. So you have to fight constantly by bringing your concentration back to God, no matter what happens around you. So you should be so concentrated on this effort. This is what is mentioned in Purana as the devotee Markandeyan hugging Shivling so tightly till the Yama, the god of death, leaves him. So it is just the representation of what's happening now in the last 100 years. So we have to think of God continuously, and we have to think of the knowledge given directly by God. We have to fill our mind only with this. So in the beginning it's going to be very difficult as expected, but what you need to do is you have to understand when our souls are relatively powerful. Of course it is weak in Kali Yuga, but still throughout the day, when is the time it is going to be very powerful? So it will usually be the early morning before sunrise and the evening after sunrise. So especially the morning time, that's the best hour when your soul will be very active, very powerful. And try to wake up as early as possible. It could be 3 o'clock or else at least 4 o'clock and not later than that, because the whole world will be sleeping then, so that there will not be any negative vibrations to obstruct your mind. So as soon as you wake up, spend at least 30 minutes dedicated to do this yoga. Here yoga means just considering yourselves to be a soul and connecting your mind to God. That's it. So this is very essential no matter how busy you are. So if possible, increase the time gradually. So you have to dedicate it. It is exclusively for yoga. The first 1 hour or at least 30 minutes of the day, 30 minutes of the beginning of the day should be for God. Only then you can fill your souls with the power that is necessary to face the problems throughout the day. And you're not going to stop yoga just with that 1 hour. You will be continuing that while doing all the things you have to do. So because it's a mind game, you need not sit, you need not fold your head, hands and legs in a particular posture to do this yoga. You can do it while taking bath, you can do it while eating, while walking, while riding the motorbike. So you can do it because it is the mind work. The more you keep your mind busy with the remembrance of God and remembrance of this knowledge, your soul will become more and more powerful, to the extent that you can compete with the recently descended souls that were previously shining in your class. You can become equal to them, if not outwit them. It is possible. So do this, and another thing you need to pay attention is you should stop mingling with others, because that's going to spoil your positive vibrations that you have created through this yoga. So just separate yourself from the rest. You need not talk with them when there is no need at all. So stay away from them. Stay away from listening to the cinema songs, watching television programs, because all these things are going to absorb the positive vibrations and it's going to send negative vibrations to you. Negative vibrations will be very powerful because we are already living in the negative world. So we have to constantly keep our minds busy with God and His teachings, so that we can constantly generate positive vibrations around us, and we will be very safe in the middle of the positive vibrations we create. And another thing is the first 4 to 5 hours of the day, that's going to be very powerful, and after that we are going to lose our power, and by the end of the day we will be left with no power at all. So that is why in the evening it is essential to allot some time for doing yoga, again for 30 minutes to 1 hour, if possible even more. So if you take these precautions, then you can definitely shine like the best kid of your class. And also one more thing that you need to be cautious about is the type of food you take. Avoid all non-vegetarian food strictly, including egg, because they were not created for us. So take only vegetarian food, and the amount of food should be it shouldn't be very large to the extent that it puts you to sleep, and also it shouldn't be very less that you feel tired. So it is you, after considering these considerations, judge what is the right amount of food for you. And also try to stay calm as much as possible, whether in home or in school or college or in office or in your business place. Try to stay calm, because the more you speak, the more sin you are going to commit, as it is mentioned in the Old Testament of Bible. So that calmness, that silence is the real power. That's the power both for our physical body and also for the soul. If you pay much attention to keep your soul always powerful, then you can accomplish anything you want. And also stay away from all these teenage problems like falling in love, having attraction towards opposite sex. They are all going to put more and more negative vibrations around you, and they are going to spoil your life. So strictly follow celibacy, because that's the power. Avoid all sorts of movies, songs, and also the friends who talk always about sex, because that's going to ruin your life sooner or later. So always stay away from them. If you are not talking with the members of opposite sex, feel proud that you has the ability to protect yourselves from the attraction of opposite sex. But what happens usually is students, they tend to develop inferiority complex, that they couldn't mingle with the members of opposite sex as few class heroes do. Actually they are losing power. you have to have this knowledge. Only then you will be very confident, and also you will be very proud that you don't fall for the attraction of the opposite sexes as everybody does. So it is heroic to stay away, to stay connected with God always. But these movies and friends and relatives, they will all make you feel as if it is abnormal to be alone. Please don't believe them. They are the words of Satan. So they are the tools of Satan. So always stay away from these 5 vices, and you will get this teaching constantly through Murli's from Raj Yoga Meditation Center. So as I mentioned earlier, go to the nearest Raj Yoga Meditation Center, and if you send WhatsApp message to this number, we will help you locate the Raj Yoga Meditation Center in your area as well. And the number is +91 98 946 71743. If you are a parent watching this, please make your kids watch this and ask your kids to teach the same technique to his friends, so that this message gets spread all over the world, because it is not available in any textbook, any religious book, any psychology book. Only God gives this knowledge, and we are transferring this knowledge to the world. So help us transfer this message to the entire world by sharing this video. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel, and also recommend this channel to your friends and relatives. And thanks for watching. Om Shanti.